Good afternoon, everybody. It is February 25th, 2025. It is approximately 6 o'clock p.m. And I call this meeting to order. If we could all stand for a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Ramos, please, prayer. Judge, if you could lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, as we gather for this board meeting, we humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom in our discussions and decisions. Grant us clarity of thought, unity of purpose, and the ability to consider all perspectives with respect. May our deliberations be guided by what is best for the greater good, and may we make choices that reflect your values of fairness and justice. We thank you for the opportunity to serve together, and we ask for your blessings on our work today. Amen.
Amen.
Chair.
Yes, Ms. Ramos.
At this time, I ask for a moment of silence for the following. For Mrs. Elvira Dominguez, mother of Trustee Adriana Alexander, and Mr. Orlando Cepeda, former LC employee and brother of former LC trustee Lupita Cepeda. Our condolences are for the families. Thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Thank you, Judge. Roll call.
Thank you, sir. Esteban Rangel,
Present.
Ernestina Tita Vela. Here. Jackie Levin Ramos present. Cindy Liendo.
Present.
Erica Benavides Garcia.
Present.
Mercurio Martinez Jr.
Present.
Adriana Alexander.
Present.
Lizzie Newsom. Absent. Karina Elizondo.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. Sorry.
Thank you. Item number 3, approval of minutes of the board retreat in January 25th, 2025, and the regular monthly board meeting for January 30th, 2025. And there's a motion and there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? No. Motion passes. Item number 4, testimony.
No public testimony,
No.
sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move up item 9F.
There is a motion to bring up 9F up. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. There's a motion and there's a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 9F, consideration and possible action of a resolution authorizing the issuance of Laredo College District Limited Tax Refunding Board, Series 2025, declaring the authority to certain district, sorry, it's hot, officers and execute certain documentation related to the sale of bonds, entering into a bond purchase agreement and escrow agreement and pay adjustment register agreement, approval of official statement, and authorizing the approval of other matters related thereto. Mr. Cesar Vela.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Cesar Vela, VP of Finance and Administration for the record. Tonight we have with us Mr. Robert Tijerina from Tijerina Financial Consulting, and also joining us is our Dan Martinez from Winstead PC. We have been presented with an opportunity to refinance part of our limited 7.7 million of our limited tax refunding bonds, Series 2015. That will give us significant savings over the next 6 to 7 years. And like I mentioned, we do have here Mr. Robert Tijerina, who will go over the plan of finance and the timeline. And Mr. Dan Martinez can also go over some of the documents that will need to be executed as part of this transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Before we go, Mr. Tijerina, I'd like to recognize Trustee Newsom. She is present. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Tijerina.
Good evening, Mr. Rangel, members of the board, Dr. Ramirez, and staff. For the record, again, Robert Tijerina with Tijerina Financial Consulting. Also with me this evening is co-bond counsels Dan Martinez of Winstead and Mario Perez of J. Cruz and Associates. They are responsible for that lengthy agenda item. So again, I did have a handout on the plan of finance for the refunding. Before I go into the presentation, just quickly in a nutshell, a refunding, a refinancing, we're not looking to get the college in the debt for any type of projects. We're not looking to increase the interest and sinking fund tax rate. The goal of a refinancing or refunding is to take your existing debt that's currently at a 5% interest rate, refinance that and move it into a lower interest rate. And that way the college can save money. The same concept applies whenever we refinance our home. If we have a 5% mortgage, interest rates go down 20-year, 30-year, and we refinance into a 3%, we're going to save on the monthly payment on our mortgage. The concept here with the college, you will save semi-annually on your 2 bond payments. So if you turn to page 2, we have the refunding analysis. We're looking to save, based on current market rates, about $51,000 a year. And as Mr. Vela stated, we're looking to refinance the limited tax refunding bond series 2015, roughly $7,735,000. This would be a tax exempt financing where we're going to the market and get the lower interest rates, and where the investor, the people loaning the money for the refinancing, is able to write that off. That's the reason for the tax exempt. We're not going to extend the maturities. As you can tell, the payments are from this current fiscal year 25 all the way down to 2031. The net present value savings is roughly $333,000. And as y'all probably saw in the market today, interest rates have come down even further than last week. We know that interest rates from September to December last year dropped 100 basis points, but the market reacted the opposite. Interest rates went up. So within the last few days, the market rates have gone back down, and this is only going to make the refunding, if they hold steady or if they continue to drop, is going to make the refunding even more attractive for the college and provide additional savings for the college. And again, we have an interest rate on the current existing debt in 2015, 5%. If we were in the market today, we would go from a 5% to 3.29%. And again, we're hoping to obtain that or even lower. If you turn to page 3, the limited tax refunding bonds timetable, as Mr. Martinez will state, this is a parameters resolution the board is considering to approve this evening. And if it is approved, we'll have the rating agency conference call on the week of March the 31st, along with the due diligence underwriters conference call. The goal is to price the financing on April the 15th and close the financing on May the 8th. And again, if you turn to page 4, we have the working group, the issuer, Laredo College, financial advisor, co-bond counsel, Winstead, J. Cruz and Associates, the underwriters, Laredo Capital Markets, PNC Capital Markets, underwriters counsel, McCall, Parkers, and Horton. The bond rating company would be Standard & Poor's, and the existing bond rating that we have right now, the college has right now, is a AA. So you're a couple of steps away from that AAA category, and you just received this bond rating upgrade back in the fall of 2023 from Standard & Poor's. The paying agent and escrow agent would be Computer Share. And again, in summary, this financing provides a savings for the college. It will not require interest and sinking fund tax rate to increase. If your property values continue to grow, which they have been over the last 10 years, 8 years, 60%, the growth of the property values going up puts the pressure of the INS tax rate coming down. So if this financing were to take place, we go from a high rate to a low rate, that annual payment's going to be less, and it puts pressure to require less of a tax rate on the community. Again, not getting into debt to do projects, not looking to increase the INS tax rate, strictly for savings opportunity only.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Before we, there's a motion and there's a second.
A second.
There's a second. I'm going to go ahead and have Ms. Jackie Ramos read the resolution.
Thank you, sir. The Board of Trustees of Laredo College in regular session open to the public on February the 25th, 2025, designated in the notice a resolution authorizing the issuance of Laredo College Limited Tax Refunding Bonds, Series 2025. Delegating the authority to certain college officials to execute certain documents related to the sale of the bonds, entering into a bond purchase agreement, an escrow agreement, and a paying agent register agreement, approving an official statement for use in the marketing of the bonds, and authorizing and approving other matters related thereto.
Thank you. Is there any other questions, comments?
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Elizondo.
Mr. Tijerina.
Yes, ma'am.
It's always a pleasure seeing you, especially
Thank you,
because you always
likewise.
bring money to our college. So my first term is about to end, and ever since I started being a trustee, you have been taking care of this, and I really appreciate everything you do for the college, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and it's a pleasure and honor to represent the college as your financial advisor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? No? Motion passes. Dr. Ramirez?
I do, thank you for saying that, Ms. Elizondo. I do think that it is a point of order for us that Mr. Tijerina called Mr. Vela a couple of weeks ago with this and said, look, this is an opportunity for the college to really save some money. And I just want to recognize his efforts and Dan's efforts in helping Laredo College really reduce its debt. As we try to maneuver some of our financial situations and getting ourselves back to a place of comfort. But I do publicly want to thank both of the gentlemen that are here today and certainly for their vision of what's happening and their communication with Mr. Vela and with my office ongoing. And so thank you all very, very much, because I do think that every penny we save is a penny we can actually reinvest in our students. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Ramirez. And it's a team effort. In all honesty, your staff has done a great job over the years. I applaud y'all, what y'all have done. Increased fund balance, bond rating upgrades, lowered the tax rate over 10 years, total tax rate 10 cents. So I applaud staff and the board. We're both humbled to represent y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so
Dr.
much.
Tijerina.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item number 5, recognitions and introductions. Mr. Ruben Villarreal.
Good evening, Board President Rangel, esteemed members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Ramirez, Vice Presidents, faculty, staff, and distinguished guests. My name is Ruben Villarreal, Public Information Officer for Laredo College, and it is my privilege to introduce a new hire and highlight a recent promotion. Under Agenda Item 5A, Introduction of Personnel Actions, our new hire he's a Human Resources Record Specialist, is Stephen A. Pettis. And we do have a promotion, and that's going to be our Assistant Director of Recruitment and Dual Enrollment, Ana Karen Granados. And I believe I need to have you guys come to the front so we can take a picture with Mr. Pettis and Ms. Granados.
I want to make sure no one dies. It's a big day. Yes. Everyone looks good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you and congratulations, Stephen A. Perez and Ana Karen Granados.
Okay, so you told him.
On his birth.
So congratulations to the individuals. We're going to continue with our board meeting. Item number 6, Faculty Senate Report by Dr. Martinez.
Dr. Heriberto Martinez, I'm the Faculty Senate President. This is our report. Last month we hadn't met, so there was no report for last month. So we met about a week ago, and I wanted to communicate some highlights to you from what we are working on in the Faculty Senate. The first is that we are probably going to be taking a look at our faculty titles for the fall. We're still kind of working around kind of what to call ourselves and so forth. So but we're going to meet as a committee and then present our recommendations to the provost and take it from there. So that's one of the first things that we're going to be working on this coming month. Another project that we're working on is the Memorial Brick Project. We're working with Dr. Ramirez here to find a place for our bricks. We have all these memorial bricks, but they're in storage, so we want to, finally have them out and displayed. And we also, working with President, want to have a type of memorial service once a year for all our departed Palominos and family, and we're going to be working on doing something like that as well, and try to make it a yearly event. So another thing that we're working on is our new faculty ombudsman. Our nominees have been communicated to the president, and we're hoping that this new Senate office will be in place by the fall semester. As the college grows and has more baccalaureate programs, it's important to have this faculty office, faculty senate office in place to kind of complement our bachelor's degree programs as well, because we want to have somebody in place that can represent the faculty and faculty issues as well. We're also going to be having our faculty senate elections coming up. So there are going to be 6 vacant senate offices, as well as the president office is also going to be up for re-election. So you'll have a new faculty senate president and 6 new faculty senators by next fall. So that's coming up as well. And I'm hoping to introduce the new officers to you by April. Hopefully we'll have those in place. One of the major things that we're working on as a faculty senate is the idea of communication to not only our provost and our president, but also our board of trustees. Contrary to popular belief, the faculty senate president is not the leader of the faculty. That would be our provost. Our provost is the leader of the faculty, and we work with our provost to communicate faculty issues and so forth. But while it's tempting for each one of us to kind of go and tell the provost, hey, we should do this or we should do that and so forth, we cannot, as one individual faculty member, communicate our desires. I mean, I'm sure they do that anyway, but we would like to do it as a united front. So one of the things that is being proposed by the Senate is the idea of faculty senate resolutions. And I'd like to take you step by step on how that would work and what we're working on, so you see what to expect in the coming months. As we speak, our faculty senators are communicating to their own departments about having this new procedure for communication. Next month, the faculty senators will come back and we will vote to either adopt or reject this form of communication. I feel, though, that it will be adopted, but that's just my feeling. Who knows, right? Now, the way a faculty senate resolution will work is that a senator, any senator that has a comment about something, a suggestion, and yes, sometimes an opposition to whatever it is happening out in our community, will come and bring this proposal to the faculty senators and say, I believe we should support this, I believe we should oppose this, or I believe we should at least make a statement about what is happening. So to give you an example, let's just say that the Board of Trustees decided, and I don't want to put any ideas that anyone said, but let's say we decided, let's charge for parking. Let's just charge everyone for parking, right? And because that does happen at other institutions of higher learning. You have to buy a parking permit. And again, I just want to thank you in advance for not doing that. That's so great. Because at some other places, you have to pay $100 for a whole year, right? But let's pretend that happened and all of a sudden the faculty are like, well, that's an added expense. I resolve that we oppose this. So we vote as senators. If the resolution passes, then we will put the resolution up on our faculty website and we will communicate it to the board that we resolve that this policy not be adopted, or that at least we are not in favor of it. And that's it. It's a non-binding resolution, but at least it communicates to the Board of Trustees, to the president, to the provost, how we feel about a certain thing. Now, sometimes it can be in support of something that it could be a bigger law or something that's happening in the community and so forth. And sometimes it could just be like we resolve to keep having Fun Fest, right? In case somebody said that they didn't like it or something like that. So this is going to be in place hopefully by April. But I will say that don't expect us to be bringing resolutions to the table all the time. Most of the time, they will probably not pass in our own deliberations. Finally, our Department of Performing Arts and Communication is putting on Lucky Stiff this coming weekend at the Martinez Fine Arts Building. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. and it's directed by Dr. Joe Crabtree, and musical direction is by Mr. Eddie Vanderwalker. So we invite you all to come and watch our students and faculty members in this production. And also Fun Fest is on Saturday, so hopefully you can make it. But any questions you have? I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody have.
Is there any question?
I have a question.
Chair recognizes Ms. Benavides.
Dr. Martinez?
Yeah.
The microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. How long are your, how long do you serve in your office?
The Faculty Senate President serves a 2-year term.
And what about the senators?
The senators also serve, I believe they serve 3-year terms, but they're a little scattered, so.
Oh, okay.
We're not reelecting them all at once.
Okay. That's what I want.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you allowed to run for re-election?
I am,
And the senators?
yes.
Oh.
I believe the senators indefinitely, but the president has terms out after 2. I have to check on that.
Chair recognizes Ms. Elizondo.
No, you guys should do 6 years igual que los otros.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions? Dr. Ramirez?
Mr. Rangel and trustees, I've had the good fortune of serving with 2 great faculty senate presidents, and both Ms. Juliana Kelly and now Dr. Martinez. And he's actually serving out an unexpired term. He was asked to step in. But I will tell you that I meet with the Faculty Senate president every month, and sometimes more if he needs to. I know he also meets with the provost before and after every one of their Faculty Senate meetings, and so there is continuous communication. The idea of an ombudsman, which he mentioned, is not unusual to higher education at all. And it was Dr. Gill's idea to bring that forward to me. It is at the discretion of the president to serve as an ombudsman. The Faculty Senate will vet and bring forward 2 nominations to the president, and then the president, I'll interview both of their nominations and then make a selection. It is an appointment. There is a release time given to the ombudsman. And there is a release time given to our Faculty Senate president. However, due to our exploding enrollment, more than likely, and it is true in this case with Dr. Gill, he is teaching an overload, and I would venture to say that our ombudsman, whoever that person is, was probably teaching an overload as well. And so while we try to add adjunct faculty and continue to expand our offerings in sections to meet the demand of our students, I do want to commend, because most of our faculty are teaching overloads. Mm-hmm. And it is because of the demand that we have for additional sections. I know some of you on this board have taught for us before and know what that's like. And so in recognition of the faculty, I do want to commend that being Faculty Senate president, it is an added responsibility, and it is an unpaid position as well, just like yours. And so I do want to thank Dr. Gill for accepting the responsibility, and certainly for leading our Faculty Senate and working with our provost, because I think together they've been able to do a lot for the faculty in general. And so thank you, Dr. Gill. It's a pleasure meeting with you every month. I really enjoy our meetings and really trying to innovate. One of the things this board asked me to do when I was hired was what is very common in higher education, which is called shared governance. And this is part of our shared governance. It is part of our responsibility. It is also required for our accreditation to have shared governance and to have a Faculty Senate, and to listen to the Faculty Senate and their concerns. They do meet, and they do have open meetings, and they meet every month, and it is open to faculty, and faculty have the responsibility, or not, if they choose not to accept it, to come to those meetings and give their opinions and their concerns. And so if they choose not to go to those meetings, and they do, I think, meet online on occasion, or you do have an opportunity for people to show up online, then that's their choice. It is part of their decision. We cannot force faculty to show up to a Faculty Senate meeting, but we can also, it is not a closed meeting. And so, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea of shared governance is imperative to the governance of day-to-day operations within an institution of higher learning. So thank you all for the opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Gill, and for all of the senators who serve.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Gill. I like your resolution. I think that's a great thing.
May I make some?
Go ahead, Judge.
Well, thank you. I would like to give you the extreme, if I may call it. I started teaching quite a number of years back, okay?
The other day.
And this was at the time, all right, the first president of Laredo Junior College, okay? When we had our very first faculty meeting, I will not single him out, but I will make the remarks that he made, okay? He in effect said to the faculty, None of you have any business attending any of the college board meetings. That's the reason why I'm there. And I do not expect to see any of you. If any of you have any kind of comments, you know where my office is, but you have no business having presence at that. So here again is the one extreme, okay? Of course, I don't mind telling you, I believe very strongly in the shared governance as it is today. But that certainly, and I think some of you do are aware of that situation that at that time was very much the attitude
How it was.
of administration. But I do compliment you, and I think it is important that we do have the communication among faculty and being able to express ourselves as well as faculty and concerns that may be within the faculty as well as administration. So I just thought I'd bring it up, as was the case way back in, believe it or not, 1959. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for the history, Judge. Appreciate it. Moving on, item number 7. Thank you, Dr. Gill. Thank you, Dr. Gill. Number 7, Laredo College Student Governance Association report. I know that Ms. Ballesteros could not get off from work, but we do have Ms. Perez here to represent. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello. So my name is Yamile Perez. I'm the Vice President of Student Government Association. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Lindsay Ballesteros, who is not going to be able to join us today. And I'm going to be updating the monthly updates. Yes.
Yes.
So first, congrats to our Palomino Empire Dance team for competing in this year's Tamayo Spring Championship. And a special shout out to Olga Maria Cepeda and Nadeline Garay for taking for first place in their soloist category. This was on January 19. Then we have Community College Day. Our Palominos were hard at work this week, proudly representing Laredo College at the Texas State Capitol for Community College Day. They met with the state legislators and engaged with education leaders and saw democracy in action. And a big thank you to the Texas Association of Community College for hosting this event, giving students the chance to network and meet key decision makers in higher education. I was actually I went to this trip to Austin, Texas, and Ms. Ballesteros, I, and other officers were able to talk to another community college, and we took photos. We don't have them here, but we do talk with other community college. We had our first official SGA meeting. The Student Government Association sworn in a new Senator pro tempore and new senators. I think it's super great that we have more students coming with joining a Student Government Association and wanting to represent the student body. And yeah, I think that's a big improvement.
Good job.
Then we have the event Hearts and Hoops, the Student Government Association in partnership with the Student Life, the Office of Student Life and Title V Lead, and the Office of the Dean of the South Campus hosted the following activities: photo booths, friendship bracelets, paint, and sit with popcorn. We had this event at the Fort McIntosh campus and at the South Campus. Both of the events were super successful. Many of the students get to know the Student Government Association, and we actually had one of our officers being the bear. Yes. It was super fun that day, and our officer was cooking inside the bear. But we made it. Then we recently had a WBCA Youth Parade. Rain or shine, our Palominos and their unwavering spirit always shine through. Thank you to our friends at the WBCA Laredo to bring our community together and celebrating our culture. Our float actually won the Best Community Float and the People's Choice Award.
Wow. Congratulations.
I was also in this event. I'm actually on that picture. I was on the float, and the weather, it was cold, but when you were there dancing and doing all this stuff, you
Didn't feel it.
didn't feel it. Yes. And we also had the WBCA Crime Parade.
It's nice. Oh,
Here is
the float's nice.
Miss Lindsay Ballesteros and our officer, Senator. The WBCA Anheuser-Busch Washington's birthday parade took place on Saturday, February 22. This year's theme, A Love Letter to the Border, was seen in many of the parade displays. Student Government Association members attend to show support and school pride towards our Laredo College float. I actually, when I was on the float, I saw some people with carteles that said, love you, LC.
Oh.
And it was amazing seeing that. Like, the community really appreciate us, and they were like super happy that we were there on the parade. Then we have Mr. South Texas Luncheon. Student representatives from the Student Government Association and the Bachelor of Applied Science in Organizational Leadership attend the Mr. South Texas Luncheon. This year, the Washington's Birthday Celebration Association of Laredo honored Mr. David Winfield Killam for his contributions to the community. And lastly, we have our Laredo College Fun Fest this Saturday, March 1st, and we invite the community to visit downtown Fort McIntosh campus for another exciting family-friendly fun fest, which is free and open to the public. We're going to have many organizations fundraising, selling food. We're going to have rides, carnival rides, performances, music, and even our Student Government Association is going to have our own booth. And we are going to have like games. It's going to be free, but we are going to give out candies. But it's for the community, so they can know the campus. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Great presentation. Okay. Any comments, questions? No? Great job.
I wanted to say a comment.
Chair recognizes Ms. Benavides Garcia.
I'm going to let you know, Yamila, that I was a judge for the parade for the youth parade and for the grand parade, and you made me very proud. The other judges, there was 5 other judges, and they were raving about Laredo College and how proud they are of the work that we're doing. So I wanted to let you know and to let your peers know that not only are we proud of you, but our community is very proud of you guys as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Benavides Garcia. Moving on, informational items, 8A, Community College Day, Laredo Day. Mr. Rangel, Ms. Cantu Vela, Ms. Liendo, Ms. Benavides Garcia, and Dr. Ramirez. I'm going to go ahead and call Ms. Cantu Vela for a couple of comments.
This is one of the events that I really. Yes, but I'm not talking close enough. Anyway, it's one of the events that I look forward to because just to see all of the students' faces and the networking that we do. You know, there's students from all over the state, and it's very, very impressive to see them and how excited they are and how they're, you know, mingling with others. So it's very heartwarming to see that. One of the experiences that we had was Cindy and Erica and myself had the opportunity to go sit in the finance, the Senate committee, and that was very eye-opening, extremely eye-opening. We were impressed, sort of impressed, and in the way, in just the way that it was held, but things that are going on that, you know, we had no idea of. It was very eye-opening. Anyway, thank you for inviting us and letting us tag along.
Thank you, Ms. Vela. I'm going to go ahead and add, I went ahead and I went later on that week. Me and Ms. Ramirez, Dr. Ramirez, we talked to a lot of state rep senators about House Bill 8. It was something very important. We even have an item here in our agenda about House Bill 8. I think it's very important. The support that we were requesting from all these elected officials. And then I also attended a couple of meetings with the city of Laredo that pertain to infrastructure, what the city's actually doing and everything as well. So it was a great success, if you ask me. I don't know, do you want to add anything, Dr. Ramirez?
I would, Mr. Rangel. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our team from that took our students, Dr. Fred Solis,
Yes.
Mr. Pedro Rivera, Ms. Mariana Rodriguez. They took the students. We took about 25 students to on the trip, and the students were greeted graciously. I do need to recognize our state senator Judith Zaffarini, Dean Senator Judith Zaffarini, also our state reps. Mr. Richard Raymond and Mr. Don McLaughlin, and in addition, Mr. Ryan Guillen. They all took time to visit with our students and actually talk to them about how it works. And so the students were able to sit in the gallery and watch both the House and the Senate in action, and I think that was extremely impressive for them. All of them took the time to take pictures with the students, to visit with the students. And 2 of our students, I think, are going to have an opportunity for an internship with 2 of our state reps. And so that was a huge request on their part, of the students actually asking for an internship. And our state reps, both Don McLaughlin and Richard Raymond, saying yes, that they would agree to giving them an internship. In addition, I do also want to thank Representative McLaughlin for paying for lunch for our students. The students were given Chick-fil-A meals, and they and so the students didn't have to pay, and neither did the school for the lunch. And so we're very grateful to that, and to all of you for being there. If anybody is interested, by the way, the House Appropriations Committee will be live on Thursday and Friday, so I can send you a link to that if you want to watch. But yes, it is extremely impressive to see how the rigor of what happens during the legislative session, even though it only happens every other year. But what it means to us is hugely important, and for our students to understand the process is hugely important. So thank you for allowing us to take our students.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Judge Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make an observation to Dr. Ramirez and, of course, to all of us here. More than likely, we probably already are aware of it. But the representative of the senator here is Ms. Lupita Cepeda. She continues to be employed. Actually, the senator approached her. She was the representative to the previous state senator, and now, of course, she continues to be the Laredo representative for the senator out here. And I'm sure most of us are aware of that, but just to make it a matter of public knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. So yes, thank you. If we could get that link Dr. Ramirez sent us, that would be great for that. 8B, modifications to the foreign trade zone designation request. Dr. Maminita Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we had two requests. The Foreign Trade Administrator has asked Laredo College to make modifications to two that have previously been approved. And while you all don't need to approve it, my responsibility is to inform you. One that we had already signed off on for Integrales Solutions, which we did last month, which I brought to you all. They're increasing the square footage and moving it from one location to the other. So so they send us a map, and on that map, there's a change in site location. And so that, just to let you know that the designation has changed. And then the second one is a name change. So the original request was for Proactive Group of Companies Mex Inc. And so the name change is to Proactive Supply Chain Group USA Inc. I think the letter was sent on a particular letterhead of the Mexican half of their company, and it is on the U.S. side, the U.S. name. And so it was just a notification to you all that it's the same group, it's just the American customs broker, so.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? No. 8C, notification of employee compensation during Fort McIntosh closure due to the street closure of the WVCA Youth Parade as per Laredo College policy, DEA local compensation and benefits compensation plan. Dr. Ramirez.
Thank you. Again, so on the day of the youth parade, we were notified by the city of Laredo that they were going to start closing the streets downtown at 4 o'clock. And so we allowed our employees to leave early due to the street closures, and then the train situation becomes extremely difficult for our employees and students to get off campus. And so we let them out a little bit early, and so we'd like to compensate them for the 2 or the 3 hours that we let them off early. Some of them went off to the South Campus to continue to work from the South Campus, and others went home and continued to work from home that afternoon. But once the streets close downtown, it's really hard for us to get out of here. And so, and it was the weather was really bad. It was raining. It was just all the way around. It was a bad situation. And so out of the abundance of safety and caution for everyone, we just sent everybody home.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. If we could hopefully, I think this was a great thing that you did. Hopefully, maybe we could have better plan for next time. And the reason for it is because I got stuck in it, and it took me a good hour to get out. Yeah, it took me an hour. So I think we need to make this a little bit more of a repetitive thing and then help our staff out. So thank you for doing that. Item 9, discussion and possible actions. 9A, approval of matching funds for the new endowment contribution as per the request of the Women's City Club donor, Ms. Dr. Diana Ortiz.
Good evening, Board President Rangel, board members, Dr. Ramirez, admin, and guests. Dr. Diana Ortiz, Vice President of Institutional Advancement.
This evening I come before you to request approval for endowment matching funds as per the donor request, the Women's City Club. The Women's City Club in 2001 made an endowment placed an endowment here at the college with $40,000. Today, that endowment has a value of $104,000. Since then, they have added additional funding, not only to the endowment, but have created multiple scholarships and provide us funding for grants. Today, in discussions with them, talking about having their legacy stand where it is a gift that is here for perpetuity. We have had many discussions, and they have decided to make 2 current scholarships to convert them into endowments, and gave us another award of a workforce scholarship, workforce endowment. That would mean that the 2 current scholarships, they have brought up to $25,000. They've awarded us a workforce development endowment, and then we have their current endowment. I am asking for the college to consider matching funds of $75,000 for the 3 new endowments that they're adding. That would add support for our students in nursing, education, general studies, and workforce. There is one more area that they are still working on for future in order to also meet the demands of the continuing ed program. Right now, we're asking for the 3 areas. Is the general studies, the education, and workforce. They've had the funds brought up to $25,000 for each one of those areas, and we would match each one of those areas with $25,000, bringing the cumulative amount to $75,000.
Wow. Thank you. Any comments? Chair recognizes Ms. Elizondo.
I'd just like to make a motion
Okay. You make a motion to approve?
to approve.
There's a second by Ms. Alexander. There's a comment by Ms. Ramos. Oh. Any other comments or? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ortiz, please tell the Women's City Club, thank you so much for what they do,
They will
honestly.
be here at the next meeting
Okay.
because we're going to be talking about the grants that they've afforded 5 different areas of our college. So we will be able to make that
Good.
designation.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9B, January 2025 Financial Report, Mr. Cesar Vela.
Members of the board, Cesar Vela, VP of Finance and Administration. For the record, included with your board package, you received a copy of the January 2025 financial report. I'll go briefly over some of the highlights. As of January 31st, 2025, the revenues total $65,994,148. That represents 81.5% of what we budgeted for the year. State appropriations, we have collected 11.1 million, that's 50% of what has been allocated to the college. As far as tuition and fees, the numbers that you see on the report reflect the tuition and fees for the fall semester, as well as for a portion of the spring semester. So again, right now at this point, we're at 89.2% of what we budgeted for the year. There is one item that is still is pending, and that will be recorded at the end of July, and that is the payment that is made for the revenue bonds. So we're that payment for the interest and principal totals about $3.5 million that will be coming out of the general use fee. As far as the tax collections for the year, we've collected $38,236,316. That represents 84.3% of what we budgeted for the year. Again, we also have a payment for the maintenance and maintenance tax note of 3 million, and that also will be reflected at the end of July, both for the principal and interest payments. As far as the other revenues, again, one of the items that we continue to monitor is the interest revenue. For the year, we have 1,485,790. That's 59% of our budget out of 2.5 million. For expenses, as of May 31st, expenses are $30,187,079. That's 37% of our budget. This is pretty much in line with last fiscal year. At this point last year, we were also at 37%. We currently do not have any major variances among the line items that are reported. Again, we continue to monitor to make sure that our expenditures are in line with our budget and what we are projecting to collect in revenue also. As far as the other funds, for the Global Logistics Center, we received all of the appropriation, which was 141,164. The expenses for the year total 146,928. The reason for that is that we did purchase equipment for the center. We ordered some video boards for the center, and we had the board approve those items out of the fund balance of the Global Logistics Center. So we currently have 458,000 in the fund balance for the center. So those line items or those pieces of equipment are coming out of that fund balance. For auxiliary services, we have collected revenue of 1,215,291. The expenses for the year totaled 629,537. So currently we have a net change to that fund balance of 185,754 for the first 5 months of operations. Again, we don't see any major variances in this one particular fund also. As far as the federal and state funds, the revenue and expenses total 15,479,354. The major item there is the Title IV funding, which is our Pell Grants, which total 12 million for both fall and the spring semester. And again, those are still being numbers that will continue to fluctuate as enrollment for the second start of the spring semester continues.
Mr. Vela, just as a reminder, sir.
Go ahead.
That Pell Grant money is just passed through. We don't get to keep any of that money, okay? That student money, we get it and then we distribute it to the students. Yeah.
For the Facilities Master Plan Phase 3, we are winding down the projects. We have 3 projects that are pending to be finalized. Those projects should be completed by the end of May. So for the year, we began the Facilities Master Plan Phase 3 balance was at $3,482,002. The interest revenue for the year totals $66,173. That money goes back into the fund to cover project expenditures. The expenses for the year total $2,146,433 for a net decrease to the fund balance of $2,080,260. So as of January 31st, the balance stands at $1,401,742. As far as the current collections for the M&O portion, we've collected 82.68% of the tax levy, and as you can see from the chart here, we're pretty much in line with the last 2 fiscal years. For 24, we've had collected 81% up to this point, and in 2023, 84.98%. So at this point, we are on target to hit that 97% collection rate. The monthly investment report, and this is information as of December 31st, 2024. We have a total amount of $120,572,378 in investments. As you heard earlier from Mr. Tijerina, we've seen interest rates go down, which is a good thing when we are looking at refinancing, but it's a bad thing when we're looking at investments. So one of the strategies that we've are working with the Valley View Consulting is to move money out of the money market account, which is our checking account, into longer term investments like the CDs to try to maximize the amount of interest income that we get. So just in December, we moved about 25 million into CDs, and those are listed there on the screen. Again, if you look at the interest rate for the bank deposits, we were yielding a rate of 3.5%. By moving 25 million, we're getting between 4.15% to 4.45% in interest. So an extra percent point on the. And finally, just an update on the fund balance. For the fiscal year, we did close out the 2024 fiscal year with a 23,454,416. Out of that 23 million, we are transferring out 6,055,313 to the deferred maintenance, and this is to comply with the resolution that was approved by the board back in October of transferring 30% of the savings into deferred maintenance. With that funding, we have been able to address deferred maintenance items at both campuses. So by moving out the 6,055,313 to deferred maintenance, we also meet the requirement of maintaining 20% in the fund balance in reserve. So once that transaction is posted, the 6,055,313 into the deferred maintenance, we'll have approximately 21% in the reserves, which is in line with the resolution that was approved by the board to maintain the 20% in reserve. And that concludes the update. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. There's a second by Ms. Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? No? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Vela. Item 9C, approval of TouchNet agreement extension. Mr. Vela?
Yes, board members, we are asking that the board approve a 5-year agreement for the application subscription program agreement, with TouchNet for TouchNet's Commerce Management Suite. The current agreement expires on April 30th, and we have been given an offer by TouchNet to renew for an additional 5 years. They'll be providing a total 5% discount if we do go for 5 years. This is the software that is utilized by the business office to process tuition and fee payments. It's also the software that is used by our students to make online payments, review their statements, set up their installment plan payments. There are other capabilities included with this software, and it also includes the mobile portion of the software. So students are able to utilize their mobile devices to look up their account, make payments, and do the setup of their installment payments.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Chair recognizes Ms. Elizondo.
When did we enter into the previous the current contract?
It was 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Okay, do you all go through, I don't know, what process do you all use to be more competitive, or you're just requesting a extension of a 5-year contract again?
Yes, so it's an extension. One of the challenges that come with this type of software is that they're integrated into Banner. So there's a higher cost if you go out and acquire a new system.
It's not the only entity that does that, but my question is, was this open to other potential vendors? Was there a bid or an RFP?
Yes, it was. It was when we initially acquired the
5 years ago.
It was. I don't remember. It was 5 years
For
ago.
this time that you're presenting to us, was there anything done to open this to any potential?
Not for this particular one. Like I said,
Okay.
it's an existing service that we currently have that's integrated into Banner.
Okay.
Any other comments? No? There's a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against?
Me.
There's one against. Okay. Item 9D, approval of purchase of audio-visual equipment for the Moore and Ruben Garcia building. Mr. Vela?
Yes, members of the board, for item 9D and 9E, I'm gonna defer to Mr. Albert Chavez,
Thank you.
AVP of Information Technology, to present the item.
Mr. Chavez?
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, College President Dr. Ramirez, and administration. For the record, Albert Chavez, Associate VP of Information Technology. For this particular item, we're requesting approval for the purchase of audiovisual equipment to refresh technology in the Moore Vocational Building and the Ruben Garcia Building. The total amount for the equipment and installation services is $240,351 with 0 cents. For this particular refresh in the Moore Vocational Building, we're refreshing a total of 13 classrooms. And then in the second building, the Ruben Garcia, 4. The reason for the 4 is a program was moved from Moore Vocational to the Ruben Garcia. So we did a swap and moved those equipment to the new building.
Thank you.
And this item is budgeted under the current media center budget for this fiscal year.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
I so moved.
There's a motion. There's a second by Ms. Ramos. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. 9E, approval of contract renewal with Columbia Advisory Group for the Information Security Officer and Information Security Compliance Risk and Governance Services. Mr. Chavez.
For this particular item, we're requesting approval to renew our existing contract with Columbia Advisory Group for Security Officer and Information Security Risk and Governance Services. This would be a 3-year renewal for this particular service, and they provide virtual security system, information security officer services, and governance and risk services.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you. 9G, approval for the purchase of a new heater for the Fort McIntosh swimming pool.
So moved.
Mr. Vela. There's a motion by Ms. Liendo, a second by Ms. Elizondo. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you. 9H, approval resolution to support the continued investment of the 88th legislation session, House Bill 8, Dynamic Community College Funding Model. I'm going to go ahead and allow Ms. Ramos to read the resolution.
Do you want me to give the background first?
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Ramirez.
So at our last CEO's TAC meeting, the Tech Association of Community Colleges, the TAC board and the legislative committee, which I serve on, we put together a resolution to support House Bill 8, which is our funding model that was approved in the last legislative session. Our hope is that in this legislative session, the same funding model will continue to be used to support outcomes-based funding. What we did was we put together a resolution. We're asking, and I say we, TAC is asking all boards of trustees across the state of Texas to pass this resolution so that as Dr. Ray Martinez and the team from TAC are going around the Capitol and speaking to legislators, they can show proof that the entire state community college group of trustees is in support of House Bill 8 and the funding model that we are now currently under. And so the resolution that Ms. Ramos has is the exact same resolution that we're asking all trustees across the state of Texas to consider approving to support our funding.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. Ms. Ramos?
Resolution of support for continued investment in the dynamic community college funding model. Whereas the state of Texas has demonstrated its commitment to student success and workforce development through the implementation of the outcomes-based funding model established by House Bill 8 during the 88th legislature. Whereas this funding model represents a transformative approach to empowering community colleges to deliver measurable results in alignment with state workforce and educational goals. Whereas the funding model prioritizes student outcomes, including the attainment of credentials of value, dual credit opportunities, successful transfer to a four-year university, and support for economically disadvantaged students and adult learners. Whereas continued investment in this dynamic funding model will ensure Texas community colleges remain equipped to provide affordable, high-quality education that drives economic growth and mobility. Whereas Texas community colleges have requested support for formula funding recommendations made by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board for the fiscal year 2026-2027 biennium alongside a supplemental appropriations request for the current biennium to sustain progress and innovation. Whereas amendments to the state funding performance tier to include students transferring to private or independent institutions in Texas will strengthen student success pathways and acknowledge the key role these institutions play in the state's higher education and workforce development ecosystem. But I haven't finished yet. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of Laredo College officially declares its support for continued investment in the outcomes-based funding model established by House Bill 8, full funding for the supplemental appropriations request for the fiscal year 2024-2025 biennium, formula funding recommendations for the fiscal year 2026-2027 biennium as proposed by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, amendments to the performance tier to include students who transfer to private or independent institutions of higher education in Texas. Be it further resolved that this resolution be included in the permanent minutes of this board adopted this 25th day of February 2025 by the Board of Trustees of Laredo College. This is a motion also.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion, there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against?
No.
Motion passes. Thank you. I believe 9I we're going to table for next month,
Yes,
correct?
so we're gonna defer
There's
it
a
to next
motion to
month.
table for 9I for next month. There's a motion. A
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you. 9J, I'm sorry, approval, what is it? Approval of revised client agreement with Vector Solutions, Dr. Ariasola and Dr. Solis.
Good evening, esteemed board members, President Ramirez, Fred Solis, Vice President for Student Success and Enrollment. Administration is requesting for the board to approve a 3-year contract with Vector Solutions and the amount of $23,466. Vector Solutions basically provides training videos to our students, partly dealing with different topics that affect student populations, such as cultural awareness, academic integrity, alcohol and drug misuse prevention, sexual assault and prevention as well.
I move to approve.
There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Solis. 9K approval is of an Associate's in Applied Science degree and Data Analyst, Dr. Hernandez.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Ramirez, colleagues, Riverto Hernandez, Associate Provost. This agenda item is to approve a new Associate of Applied Science in Data Analytics. If the board recalls, last October, we approved the Bachelor of Applied Technology in Data Analytics. This would be just a direct feeder program into that particular award.
Thank you,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Hernandez.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman.
Yeah, there's a comment by Judge.
A 2-year program
Yes, sir. That's correct.
as an associate degree?
Yes.
Yes.
And it is
Thank you.
directly linked and will carry over to the Bachelor
To
of
the
Applied
bachelor's.
Technology.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9L, modification to the approval of out-of-the-country travel for bachelors of as per Laredo College policy. Sorry, I skipped a line. Travel bachelors of applied science in organization leadership program, facilities and staff as per Laredo College Board policy, CG local, transportation management, CJ local, sorry, transportation management, Dr. Tijerina.
Marisela Rodriguez Tijerina, Provost Vice President of Academic Affairs. Good evening, board members, admin, and Dr. Ramirez, everybody. So in December, we brought this item with the intent that our Basorgo program director, who's here, Dr. Marisa Guerrero, and a staff member go to Spain and England. Well, that didn't fall through. So not because of us, World Strides, the company we're working with. And it happens, you know, with students, groups. Remember, this year we were not going to send students, but we want to send them to go witness another group to ensure that they understand the student onboarding process so that when we do send students in 2026, we're familiarized with the international travel, because this is the first time we'll be doing that. So my request to you is that right now, the option is Greece, but because everything keeps changing, you know, whether international travel is changing, or we hope that will stabilize, and that's the intent. But I also don't want to be coming every month on the country. I mean, we can come back and let you know once they travel. We're not asking for more money. It's just that we want to be transparent that the location has changed. But, you know, it's always subject to change, but right now it looks like Greece.
I would like to make a motion.
There's a motion by Ms.
Second.
Elizondo, there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes.
Thank
Item
you.
number 10, executive session. 10A, discussion with Laredo College attorney to receive legal advice relating to Laredo College ad valorem tax collection pursuant to Texas Code Section 551.071. Is there a motion to go to executive session? There's a motion. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion passes. We will be right back. We're going to executive session at exactly 7:16. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We're coming back from executive session. It is approximately 8:03 p.m. No action was taken on item 10A. We're moving on with 11A, Laredo College ad valorem tax collection. I believe we're going to table this item for no action, deferred to be able to for next month?
Yes, defer.
Okay,
No action.
no action. So item 12. Okay. There's a motion by the judge. There's a second by Ms. Benavides Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Thank you. Motion passes. Item 12, 12A, campus police report, personnel and travel report. Dr. Ramirez?
Thank you, Mr. Rangel. And just in your packets, you have our police report. I do want to make one observation on our police department. They were, in the history of Laredo College has never had a color guard ever. And this year, for the first time, one of our officers was asked to be part of the color guard representing the city. So the opening of the Washington's birthday celebration, Anheuser-Busch parade, combined color guard of armed services included one of our own officers. And so we were very proud of him. He was very proud of himself. Officer Pina was very excited to be part of the color guard. And so my hats off to our police department for the work that they're doing. And they are getting trained. And so we hope to soon unveil our own Laredo College Police color guard. So they're diligently working on that. So we're very excited for them, and they're certainly proud to do that. Many of our officers are veterans, and so they take their work very, very seriously. In addition to that, just a reminder on the travel reports. I will be, during spring break, I will not be on spring break. I will be attending my Aspen, not in Aspen, Colorado, but it's called my Aspen Fellowship class for the week. So I will be in school while you all are spring breaking. And just to let you know, I'll be out of town for that week and in class. And so March 10th through the 14th, but I will have, as always, I always have my cell phone. So in case anything happens or you all need anything, please know that I'm available. I do also want to thank all of you for those of you that have been trying to get to events and things on campus and off campus. We had a lot of things going on this weekend during the celebration. Our students did an outstanding job representing our institution, and so did our employees. And so shout out to all of them for all of their extra work and everything that they've done to continue to show off not only what we're teaching, but but what students are doing to support our community. And so hats off to all of them. We do have a lot going on this week. We started our counseling center is starting to do some additional outreach for our students, and so they're having open forums and sessions at both campuses. And I think we were having one here today, and then we have another one at the South Campus tomorrow in preparation for that. Our cosmetology group is doing some really cool things. They've opened up to the campus community for services so they can practice. And so they're real excited. This is before graduation, and so they're doing their practice stuff. And so they've done a really nice job. I have not gone for services, but I know that some people have, and they're claiming that things are going really well for them, and I wanted to give them a shout out as well. Also, Saturday for Fun Fest, I hope you all will join us sometime during the afternoon. We're going to have great weather. I think it was a blessing that we got moved to March 1st, because had it been last Saturday or the Saturday before, it would have been awful weather. And so I think we're blessed to have it this coming Saturday. So I hope to see you all here. And with that, Mr. Angel, thank you all very much. I'll keep you all posted on how things are going with the legislative session. We are right now, as it stands, our $1.7 million request for 4 new programs is in the budget. We won't know until the final budget is approved, but if we get that, it is the startup money for our 4 new programs. And so that would be a huge blessing for us to get that and to be able to buy all the equipment we need for all the programs. I know that Dr. Hernandez and Dr. Tijerina already have a list. So as soon as we get the money, they're gonna put in the requisitions to purchase the money. But Mr. Vela is not gonna let them spend anything until the money gets here. So ideally that will go through, and I know that I'll be in Austin again probably in April. So I'll be, as part of my responsibility to the Legislative Committee of TAC, I will probably be back over there. When I was in Austin the last time, and this will be my last comment, I promise, I did get an opportunity to meet with both of our Texas Workforce Commission commissioners. I met with 2 of them. Both of them are very, very high on the work that we're doing in our continuing ed program and in our workforce program. And so they strongly believe that this legislature, there will be more funding put into TWC, and there will be more JET grants available for us to apply for. And so they both want to come visit us on campus. And so if they do, I will let you all know so that you all can certainly meet them. They are both very, very much involved in trying to promote everything that we're doing to move our students through our workforce programs and into academic programs and into the workforce. And so I think everybody's trying to do their part in support of our institution. So thank you all again, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. If you could just keep us informed via email to all the board whenever legislation, the status of the legislation, how it's going, so we could be informed about those monies. I think it's important. So if you could be just sending us emails, updates to the full board so we could know. So any other comments, concerns? No? Okay, moving on. I'm sorry, you have a comment? Okay. Item 13, upcoming events. Saturday, March 1st, 2025, 12 p.m. LC Fun Fest will be hosted here. March 10th through the 14th, LC is on spring break, so that is item 13. Item 14, next meeting date, Thursday, March 27th, 2025, 6 p.m. Regular monthly board meeting for us. I also just want to comment that we will be continuing with our committee meetings next month. I know that we took a break this month, but we will continue due to all the events of WBCA. So Ms. Bocanera will be sending invites to everybody so we could go ahead and continue with our committee meetings. Before we adjourn, do you have a comment, Ms. Elizondo? Oh, I know. I asked for him. Thank you. So any other comments, concerns? No? Okay. Item 15, motion to adjourn. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? No? Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And we are adjourned at approximately 8:12 p.m.